everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to this week's Ponderous Wednesday, which, as you can see from the title of this video, is all about taxes on coins, silver and gold for me selling, and how potentially I have ruined all of my own silver and gold coin investments by being a trader, by being a business. That is the overarching ponderous topic for today. So we're going to have a good old fun discussion about that and a lot of the situations which are relevant for myself. Of course, today's video, it is just that. It's about what's relevant to me. I'm not giving financial advice here. I'm certainly not giving tax advice as it relates to precious metal investing. I would highly recommend that you go and seek the advice of experts and or do a lot more research than watching my videos. Now, what this topic is all about, the nuts and bolts of it is, recently Backyard Bullion Enterprises, we have had to register for VAT, for sales tax, which means that we have a lot of scrutiny on us for when we sell coins, silver, gold, whatever there might be, even 50p's and collectible coins and proof coins and things like that. We have to be very careful now with those because we have to charge the correct amount of sales tax if they are a business asset, if there's something that the business has bought to sell on. By the way, today's video is not actually sponsored by the Yale of Beaufort, but we have now all of the different Yales of Beaufort that have come in, and we're going to showcase them all and put them in our nice display boxes as we go through. So I thought that would be a cool thing to show with you guys as we go through. Now, there's always a difficult line here to draw. First of all, let's talk about taxes on coins and silver and everything. Taxes are taxes at the end of the day, and I'm not really wanting this video to blow up into a whether tax is legal, whether tax should be taxed, or whether or not you should be paying tax at all, whether it's just a racket or whatever it is. That's not the topic of today's video. I like paying taxes. I like having free healthcare in the UK, even if it's pretty slow. I like being able to go to the emergency room and not have to remortgage the house if I've got a serious medical issue. There is a lot to be said of different private medical institutions all around the world, and I'm not belittling them, but ultimately paying taxes is a good thing in my eyes. But paying taxes on things which I don't really agree that taxes should be paid on, that's a different matter all entirely. So paying income tax, I'm quite happy to pay income tax, that's fine. And I have been declaring so many things throughout this last couple of years now on my tax forms for things that I've been buying specifically to make a profit on as part of the business. So we've bought coins to sell on, silver, even gold and so on, and I have bought them specifically for a quick turnaround like the proof coins or things like that. So I'm very happy to be able to declare those, and I'm very lucky that I can make a living out of doing that, as well as pouring the hand-poured silver. So that, it's really important to remember that I'm quite happy with that element of it. But what I've recently come to kind of realize is that my own personal investments in silver and gold are now in jeopardy of being classed as a business asset and therefore having to pay income tax on them. So you guys have been, if you've been following my channel for a long time, you'll know that I have a significant amount of gold that I have been investing in for the pension pot, as it were. In fact, whilst we're talking about gold, let's talk about that gold. So this piece of gold here is very much in that kind of category as a long-term investment. That's what we've always purchased it for. That's what we've always wanted to have for it, to lock up that wealth, preserve that buying power. Yes, if we gain a little bit of profit on the premiums of some of these coins in the Queen's Beast series, then that's all to the good. But ultimately, they are a personal investment. However, my business, so to speak, Backyard Bullion Enterprises, does diversify into selling coins. And there's a very strong case that could be made from the taxman's point of view that we are selling these as a trade, not as a personal investment. Therefore, income tax would be due on any profits, rather than this just being a capital, that you would purchase for X price and then you would sell for Y price, and you would either have a profit or a loss, and that would be hunky-dory, that would be fine. And that's the case for loads of people out there at the moment, that they are investing in gold and silver. They're not flipping, they're not selling on the side, and they are able to do that, and that will be very easy for them to kind of declare and to get that sort of capital return on. But for people like myself who are flipping coins and selling coins on the side, there's more of a case for the taxman to say that you are making these as a trade, you're selling these as a trade. They look at what are called the badges of trade. Now, I think I will probably do a follow-up video on the badges of trade and a follow-up to this video, because there's a lot to go through, and it would be far too much in this one particular video. But it's something that I think a lot of you out there who are flipping coins, certainly in the UK, I mean, things might be different in the US, and I would imagine they probably are, but I don't even know what the situations would be in the US in terms of being a trader or being just an investor. So in the UK, we all get, which is very nice of the government, a £1,000 profit allowance for basically trading, for hobbyist trading. So if you buy and sell stuff on eBay, you can make £1,000 worth of profit and you don't have to do anything. You just pocket that profit. Fantastic, great. But if you make more than that, then you need to be registering with HMRC, the taxman, to do self-assessment taxes on your flipping, which is then deemed to be a trade. So the argument is, when does flipping coins stop being that investment that you're getting a capital return out of and become a trade? And it's all down to those badges of trade, and we'll go through all of them more in more detail at another point. It's just far too much to go through. There's like 6 or 7 different badges of trade which HMRC will look at, but nuts and bolts of it comes down to the volume of trades that you've been doing, the amount of similar trades that you're doing as well, how often you're doing them, whether you've bought them in bulk to get a discount, whether you've used finance to buy them, and then, of course, how long you've owned them and whether or not you've got a pride of ownership out of them, whether you've had, whether you've basically bought them as an own personal interest or investment. So there's a load of different boxes which need to be ticked. But, of course, the danger is that, you might think you're doing everything correctly, but the taxman might think you're not. And legally, you might be doing everything correctly, like I think that we are with our own personal investments. But ultimately, the powers that be might well want to come along, knock on your door, ask you all these questions, and then they might take you to court, and you have to prove your case in court. And of course, nobody really wants to do that. Of course, if it ever came to it, then there's arguments to be had both sides, and you never quite know what might come out, and you could be facing a hefty fine, etc., etc. So, basically for us, for the Backyard Bullion household, there's now an interesting question as to what constitutes a private investment and what constitutes a business asset that we might be looking to sell. And, again, about all of those quick turnaround type items, it's more likely to be deemed to be a trading asset, which would, in the case of silver, be quite calamitous. So, for example, with the Queen's Beasts, I think I've got like 20 of these Queen's Beast Yells. I love them. They're great. I actually really like the Yell. We haven't talked much about the design in today's showcase of all the different ones, but I actually really like it. I think it's a very cool pox-ridden goat/boar, and we will do a little bit more of an expose on it at some point, I'm sure, but it's really very cool indeed. That said, if I needed to sell all of these to release the money because we've got an emergency or something like that, then we wouldn't have owned them for very long, and we would probably sell them on the Silver Forum or here on YouTube or on eBay, for example. And you know what's going to happen? The taxman will get involved and say, no. That is a business trading asset. You should charge VAT on it, which means the customer has to pay 20% more. Or essentially, if I sold it for a set price, I pay the VAT difference to the taxman, so I'm losing out. Then I would have to, if I did make a profit still on any of that, I'd have to give away 20 odd, well, more than that because of national insurance, I'd have to give away 29 to 30% of my profits to the taxman as income. So all of a sudden, this coin, which cost me 30 quid to buy, and I sell for 32 quid or something, I might make 2 quid profit. I end up losing 7 quid to the VAT man, and I lose a couple of quid perhaps. Well, in that case, I wouldn't actually make a profit, so I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't have to pay income tax. But, you see the point here, that I would be quite hung by it. I would have this kind of financial restraint on it, that I would not be able to sell it quickly. I'd have to take my time and find somebody who'd be willing to pay a very big premium for it. And of course, if you've got lots and lots of coins, that's difficult to do. So, yeah, right, now we've got all of those coins showcased. Let's put them in the wonderful coin folders that we've got coin boxes. So there's some interesting stuff going down about our own personal investments. And in the follow-up video to this, I will talk, I'm going to turn it to one side like that because the light today is awful. It's really dreary, horrible day. And hopefully you guys can see these. By the way, these boxes are made by Alan over on the Silver Forum. I will put a link to his profile over on the forum. I don't know if he's got any of these currently available, but they are incredible boxes for all of the different Queensbee sets. And this is the 1/4 ounce set, so we can include now the Yale, which nicely fits there. Shaping up really well, this set. Very, very happy. Looking lovely there. So we will be taking steps in our own kind of personal investments, and I'll talk a little bit about those in the follow-up video, which will likely be next week, on the kind of badges of trade side of things and what we are going to be doing to, you know, potentially protect ourselves, protect our investments in gold and silver. You know, ultimately the pension gold is a really interesting one, because part of the plans for the pension gold, let's put the silver one in and talk about pension gold here with the Yale. Part of the plans that we have for our pension gold is perhaps when you get to that retirement age, it's used as a top up to what sort of other pensions you might have out there, so private pensions, state pensions, etc. So if perhaps you have, you know, a certain amount of gold and you want to say, right, okay, I think half an ounce of gold every month sold, or if you've got 1 ounce gold coins, then 1 ounce every 2 months will be perfect for me to top up my earnings and have that kind of pension release. That's a regular thing. You're selling that once every 2 months, or once every month, or once every 2 weeks if it's something that you want to release more of. Then that could be interpreted as trading, so you have to pay income tax on it. So there's loads of different things to factor in, which I think a lot of people haven't really realised. So yeah, from our perspective, we are going to be talking about that. We're going to have quite a lot of different you know, things in place for our own private investments as to how we're going to handle them, how we're going to segregate them from the business. It's very difficult as well, and I know a lot of you out there are probably going to suggest things like, well, why don't you set up multiple businesses? Why don't you just do X, Y, and Z when it comes to multiple businesses? And you know, Mrs. Backyard Bullion could set up as a sole trader or a trader herself. Well, yes, but again, this is all, it's fairly transparent. You know, we have a YouTube channel. We're talking about it here. And if I say, yep, so Mrs. Backyard Bullion is now going to be a silver trader and she's going to trade these underneath the £1,000 allowance. Well, that's pretty shady in my opinion, and it's evidence perhaps for the powers that be that we are doing it specifically to avoid paying taxes, which they would say we are due to pay. And of course, if you're in that kind of situation, you're going to probably get in trouble and be put in front of a court to defend yourself, which is pretty horrible. So anyway, look, I'm starting to ramble, and rightly so, I think, because as I said at the start of this video, I don't mind paying taxes. I like paying taxes. I like being able to use roads and have the police and have fire departments and everything. You know, that's fine. Taxes is part of life. I can't remember which president said it, but he said there was 2 things certain in life: death and taxes. I think it was Roosevelt. Or it was Roosevelt or Eisenhower. I can't remember. Or I might be completely wrong. Correct me down in the comment section which president said that. But there's 2 things certain in life: death and taxes. And that's fine. I'm happy to pay taxes, and I quite like paying taxes, especially when I'm doing, you know, my own, you know, work under my own volition like this. It's quite nice to be able to say, look, I'm earning enough to pay taxes. That's fantastic. But at the end of the day, when a tax is like this, and I think it's pretty unjust, because let's be honest, you know, I do get a lot of pride and enjoyment out of collecting these coins. These are not something which I'm going to be flipping. It's not like I'm buying 100 of these and having them listed. These are longer term investments that we wanted to purchase. And I guess me making videos like this on YouTube showcasing these coins is pride of ownership and proof of that, and maybe that will count in my favor at some point in the future. But again, it's about whether or not we really want to have the issues of basically proving this in a court of law. Do we really want to have to go to you know, the Crown Court, the High Court, and say, do you know what, actually I did get quite a lot of pride and joy out of these, so they shouldn't be taxed as income, they should be taxed as capital gain. It's just, yeah, not fun at all. So that is the first part, I guess, of this video. Next week we will talk a little bit more about the badges of trade, and I will finish with that kind of that element here to say, for those of you out there, especially on the forum, who do a lot of trading, you know, you need to brush up on this kind of thing, because selling as a trade, selling as a hobby can be very tricky, and it's not a capital. It's certainly, you know, you will be, I think, brought up on it if you're selling regularly on the forum and you're saying it's a capital, but you've only owned something for a couple of minutes or days, or even like these proof coins, maybe not these ones because they don't flip very well quickly, but like the the Stephen Hawking gold coins, the Peter Rabbit coins, those are very much going to be a trade if you buy it and sell it very quickly, and you need to be thinking about registering for self-assessment and things like that. So next week we will cover a lot of that ground, but in the interim I'd like to know your thoughts on this. Again, like taxes on silver, taxes on coins and things, of course, there's going to be strong opinions both sides on this, and I don't really want this video to turn into whether or not tax is an ethical thing, whether it should be charged or not. This is much more about when it's very much a investment in the spirit of what an investment should be, and having to sort of do a lot of hoops to prove that. I think that's just wrong. I don't like that, and that's caused a lot of sort of issues with, not issues, but caused a lot of worry for us here. We have a significant amount of silver and gold that in theory could be a lot less profitable in the future for us. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video here today. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button on it, especially if you like the new Yale of Beaufort, because I personally love it. I think it's a really good one. Mrs. Backyard Bullion loves it too. She says it's her second favourite after the Griffin, which is, of course, I think everyone's favourite, let's be honest. I love the Griffin. I think it is my all-time favourite. If you like these boxes as well, thumbs up on it and share it around on your social media. And if you would like to get a notification when I upload future videos, you know what to do. You need to subscribe, and then you need to hit that alarm bell as well. Let's leave that 1 ounce gold tray out because that's much more pretty. Otherwise, thank you one and all for watching. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.